Right. So, like, you hit 41, right? You've made it through your 20s and 30s, but what's next? I mean, is it all downhill from here? Hopefully not. In this deep dive, we're going to explore how your 40s can actually be like this awesome launching pad to an even more fulfilling and impactful next chapter.
Yeah.
We're going to be diving into an excerpt from Age 41, Life After the Hilltop, to unpack like some of these unexpected opportunities and challenges that come with hitting this like milestone.
Yeah.
Get ready for some like really surprising insights, because this whole deep dive is about rewriting the script on what it means to be 41 and beyond.
I love that.
So
what's fascinating to me is how society kind of like pushes this narrative of slowing down at 40, like as if you've reached your peak and now it's just time to coast.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is actually quite different, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. People are living longer careers, are like constantly evolving.
Right.
And we're seeing more and more people achieve incredible things well into their 40s, 50s and beyond. It's like the traditional timeline has just been completely thrown out the window.
It really has. Think about figures like Oprah, Elon Musk, Vera Wang.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they all achieved massive success later in life and totally defied this conventional wisdom that your best years are behind you once you hit 40.
Totally.
So it raises the question, what is driving this shift?
Well, I think part of it is that we're no longer bound by like the same limitations as like previous generations. We have more access to information, more opportunities for reinvention, and a greater understanding of the importance of lifelong learning and growth.
I think that's a great point. And it's not just about these external factors either. Around age 40, your brain actually undergoes some pretty fascinating changes that kind of prime you for this period of reevaluation and growth.
Okay, now that's intriguing. So what's actually happening in our brains at this age?
Or your prefrontal cortex, the part that's responsible for decision-making and planning, starts working more closely with the emotional centers of your brain. So this means you're not just logically weighing options, you're also like tuning into your intuition and seeking greater meaning in your choices.
So it's like our heads and our hearts are finally starting to work together.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense when you think about like that classic midlife crisis stereotype.
Totally.
Right.
But instead of viewing it as like a crisis, what if we reframe it as like a period of deep self-reflection, a time to reassess your values, your priorities, and your overall direction in life?
So less about impulsively buying a sports car.
Right.
And more about really taking a hard look at your life and making adjustments that align with like your evolving sense of self.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you might be on the wrong path, whether it's in your career, your relationships, or even just your overall sense of purpose.
But how do you know if you're truly on the wrong path or just like going through a normal phase of questioning and uncertainty? What are some signs that might indicate a niche for like a course correction?
Well, one sign is like persistent dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
Or like a feeling of being unfulfilled despite maybe achieving external markers of success. It's that nagging feeling that something is missing, even if you can't quite put your finger on it.
I feel like I've definitely felt that. It's like that feeling of going through the motions without a sense of real purpose or passion driving you forward.
Exactly. And this often coincides with a shift in priorities. Things that were once important may not hold the same weight anymore. You might find yourself craving more meaningful work, deeper connections, or a greater sense of impact in the world.
This all ties back to what you were saying about the brain rewiring itself.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're literally becoming wired for more meaning and purpose around this age.
Exactly. And this shift can manifest in various ways.
Okay.
For example, studies have shown that job satisfaction often dips between ages 39 and 50. It's like you're hitting a point where ambition meets reality, and you're asking yourself, is this really how I want to spend my time and energy?
Right. And I imagine this reevaluation process also extends to relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
We see a spike in divorces around age 45, which might be part of this larger shift in priorities and a desire for like more fulfilling connections.
It's all interconnected. This period of reassessment touches every aspect of our lives, prompting us to examine what truly matters and to make choices that align with our evolving needs and desires.
So for someone listening who's feeling this pull towards this questioning of their current path, what would you say to them? Should they be afraid of these feelings or embrace them as a catalyst for growth?
Embrace them.
Yeah.
This is a time of incredible opportunity. Think about Vera Wang. She didn't even design her first dress until she was 40.
Wow.
Right?
It's like that saying, it's never too late. is backed by real-life examples.
Absolutely. And it's not just about career change. This is a time to ask yourself those big what-if questions.
Yeah.
What if you could achieve a level of fitness you never thought possible? What if you could finally pursue that creative project you've always dreamed of?
It's like standing on top of a hill, surveying the landscape and realizing that there are so many paths still waiting to be explored.
Exactly.
Wow.
And this is where we need to debunk another myth, this idea that your body starts falling apart after 40.
Yeah.
With the right care and attention, your 40s can actually be a time of increased strength, leanness, and overall vitality.
That's a very refreshing perspective.
Yeah.
So instead of viewing this as a period of decline, we should see it as an opportunity to take control of our health.
Yes.
And potentially reach a whole new level of well-being.
Absolutely. And research shows that people who make significant life changes after 40 are actually happier in the long run.
Wow.
It's not just about feeling like you have to change.
Right.
It's about recognizing that embracing change can lead to greater fulfillment.
This is fascinating. It's like we're being given a second chance to design a life that truly lights us up.
Precisely. And remember the story of J.K. Rowling? She was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
She was 42 when she achieved that level of success.
Wow.
Talk about defying the odds and proving that it's never too late to achieve something remarkable.
That's incredibly inspiring. It really highlights the importance of perseverance and believing in yourself.
Yes.
Even when faced with setbacks.
Exactly. Age 41 isn't about coasting. It's about taking control and shaping your future. This next decade is a prime opportunity to shed what no longer serves you and embrace what does.
I love that. It's such an empowering message. So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
What can someone listening to this do today to start making those changes?
Well, the beauty of it is that it doesn't have to be a massive overhaul. It's about making small, consistent changes that over time lead to big transformations. We call these micro-revolutions.
Micro-revolutions.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to change everything at once, it's about focusing on these smaller, more manageable shifts.
Exactly. Let's say you're feeling unfulfilled in your career. Instead of impulsively quitting your job tomorrow,
right.
What if you dedicated just 30 minutes each day to exploring alternative career paths or learning a new skill?
That feels so much less daunting than the idea of making a huge leap all at once. It's more achievable.
Yes.
More sustainable.
Right. And consistency is key. Even small actions repeated over time can have a significant impact. Think about it like building a muscle. You don't get ripped by lifting a heavy weight once. It's about showing up consistently and gradually increasing the challenge.
So how do you figure out where to start with these micro-revolutions? I imagine it can feel overwhelming to know which areas of your life to focus on.
That's where self-reflection comes in. Ask yourself some key questions. What are you tolerating in your life that you no longer want to? What are you craving more of? Where do you feel a sense of stagnation or lack of excitement?
Those are powerful questions. I'm already feeling my mind starting to churn with possibilities.
Good.
But before we dive into specific examples of micro-revolutions, let's take a quick pause to gather our thoughts. We'll be back in a moment to explore how you can translate these insights into action.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about these micro-revolutions.
Right.
These small but significant changes that can lead to huge transformations in our lives.
Yeah.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What do these micro-revolutions actually look like in practice?
Well, they can take shape in any area of your life where you're seeking growth or change.
Okay.
It's about pinpointing what's calling for your attention and then breaking down those big goals into smaller, actionable steps.
Can you give us some concrete examples, say, for someone wanting to make changes in their physical health?
Absolutely. So instead of aiming for a complete diet and exercise overhaul.
Yeah, that's overwhelming.
Right, which can be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
Start with a micro-revolution, like swapping one sugary drink each day for a glass of water.
Okay.
As you get used to that, gradually increase it to 2 drinks, then 3, and so on.
See, that feels doable. Small steps, big impact. What about someone who's feeling that itch to start a side hustle, but feels paralyzed by the sheer size of the idea?
That's a perfect example. Instead of getting bogged down in endless planning, commit to dedicating just 1 hour each week to work on your project. Maybe you spend that hour brainstorming ideas one week, researching your target audience the next, and then start outlining your first product or service the week after.
I love that breaking it down into those bite-sized pieces makes it much less intimidating and more likely that you'll actually take action. And who knows, maybe that 1 hour a week will turn into something much bigger down the road.
Exactly. It's about building momentum and establishing a consistent routine. And remember, it's not just about external changes. Micro-revolutions can also be internal.
What do you mean by internal micro-revolutions? Can you give us an example?
Let's say you're feeling bogged down by negative self-talk or a lack of confidence. An internal micro-revolution could be starting a daily gratitude practice. Just taking 5 minutes each morning to write down 3 things you're grateful for can shift your entire mindset.
That's such a simple but powerful practice I've heard from so many people, how transformative gratitude can be.
It really is. And you can also try incorporating positive affirmations into your routine. Instead of focusing on your perceived flaws, consciously choose to affirm your strengths and abilities.
This all circles back to the idea that our brains are primed for change at this age. We can actually rewire ourselves for greater positivity and resilience.
You got it. And remember, you don't have to go through this alone. Sometimes we get caught up in the idea that we have to figure everything out by ourselves, but seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Absolutely. Having a supportive network of friends, family, or even a therapist can make all the difference. It's also incredibly valuable to connect with mentors or role models who have successfully navigated this stage of life.
Yeah, their experiences and insights can be incredibly helpful in avoiding common pitfalls and staying motivated. It's like having a roadmap from someone who's already walked the path you're on.
I love that analogy. It takes away some of the fear of the unknown. But I think it's also important to remember that it's okay to experiment and make mistakes along the way.
Absolutely. This is a time for exploration and discovery. Embrace that sense of curiosity and wonder you had as a child. Try new things, step outside of your comfort zone, and don't be afraid to fail.
It reminds me of something we touched on earlier, the idea of reframing fear as excitement. It's about recognizing that those butterflies in your stomach might actually be a sign that you're on the right track, that you're pushing yourself to grow and evolve.
Exactly. And sometimes the things we fear the most are the very things that have the power to transform us.
This has been so insightful. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface of all the possibilities that open up when we embrace this stage of life.
We have, and that's the beauty of it. There's so much more to explore, and the best part is you get to choose what that journey looks like.
Before we get too carried away with all these exciting possibilities, I think it's time for a quick breather. But when we come back, we'll delve into some of the challenges that can arise during this period of transition and how to overcome them. Stay with us. Okay, so we're back. And, we've been talking about all these amazing opportunities that come with turning 41.
Yeah.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
It's not always like sunshine and rainbows, is it?
Right. Not always.
There can be some real roadblocks on this journey of reinvention.
Absolutely. This period of reevaluation and change can definitely bring its share of challenges.
For sure.
But the good news is these challenges are often surmountable with the right mindset and strategies.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those challenges. What are some of the most common hurdles people face at this age, and how can we navigate them?
One of the biggest hurdles is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. It can be really paralyzing.
Yeah.
And keep you from taking those necessary steps forward.
Yeah, fear is definitely a powerful emotion. I know I've personally struggled with it at times.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice on how to move past that fear and take those leaps of faith?
One strategy that I found helpful is to reframe fear as excitement. Think about it. Both emotions involve heightened arousal, but excitement has a positive connotation. Instead of thinking, I'm terrified to start this new venture.
Yeah.
Try shifting your perspective to, I'm excited to see where this takes me.
So it's not about ignoring the fear, but choosing to interpret it differently.
Yeah.
As a sign that you're on the right track, that you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly. And remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Everyone who has achieved something meaningful has faced setbacks along the way. The key is to view those setbacks as learning opportunities and keep moving forward.
It's so easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned. But you're right, those experiences often teach us the most valuable lessons.
Yeah, for sure. And let's not forget about the challenge of balancing all these changes with existing responsibilities. Many people in their 40s have families, mortgages, other commitments that can make it tough to prioritize personal growth.
That's a really real concern for a lot of people. It can feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions, making it hard to find the time and energy for yourself.
Right.
What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with that balancing act?
I think it's crucial to approach change with a realistic and sustainable plan. Instead of trying to do everything at once, start with small, manageable steps that you can integrate into your existing routine.
So it's about finding those pockets of time and energy that you can dedicate to your own growth without completely disrupting your life.
Yeah.
Like maybe waking up 30 minutes earlier to work on a passion project or using your lunch break to connect with a mentor.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Delegate tasks when possible. Communicate your needs to your loved ones and seek support from friends or a therapist. You don't have to go through this alone.
That's such an important reminder. Sometimes we try to shoulder everything ourselves, but having a support system in place can make all the difference. It's about recognizing your limits and seeking help when you need it.
Exactly. And one final challenge I want to touch on is this feeling of being stuck in a rut.
Okay.
That sense of monotony and lack of direction that can creep in even when you're outwardly successful.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling. It's like going through the motions without a sense of real purpose or excitement.
Right.
What's the antidote to that feeling of stuckness?
Well, I would say the antidote is novelty and exploration. Make a conscious effort to try new things, step outside of your comfort zone, and expose yourself to different perspectives.
So it's about breaking out of that routine and injecting some fresh energy into your life.
Yeah.
Whether it's taking a class, traveling to a new place, or just having a conversation with someone who has different views than your own.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of small changes. Even something as simple as rearranging your furniture or trying a new recipe can shift your perspective and create a sense of excitement.
It's really amazing how those small acts of novelty can have such a big impact on our overall outlook and well-being.
They really can. And remember, this is your journey. There's no right or wrong way to navigate this stage of life. The key is to be intentional, to listen to your inner voice, and to create a life that truly aligns with your values and aspirations.
This has been such a rich and empowering conversation. I feel like we've covered so much ground from the science behind this age to practical strategies for making the most of it.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I think we've highlighted that turning 41 isn't something to fear, but rather a time to embrace.
Absolutely. It's a new beginning, a chance to write a sequel that's even more fulfilling and meaningful than the first chapter.
Beautifully said.
Okay.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into life after 40, what's the one key message you want listeners to take away?
I would say the key message is this. You are the author of your own story. No matter what your past has held, no matter what challenges you're facing, you have the power to shape your future. Embrace this time of transition, tap into your inner wisdom, and dare to create a life that truly lights you up.
That is such a powerful and inspiring message. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you've seen the landscape from the top of the hill, what kind of legacy are you ready to build? Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep writing your story.